My name is Helena. I'm the current head of the Department of Chemistry and Biomolecular Sciences, CBMS for short. Now, what I'm going to present over the next half hour or so is I'm going to tell you a little bit what we do, who we are. Then we move on to our degree programs, research, our facilities, and importantly then I will talk about some employment prospects. Okay, to start from who we are. Now, we are a mid-sized department. We have about 20 academic staff, but 91 higher degree students, which means that we are very like a research-intensive department. And what it means to our students, even for undergraduate students, it is that you actually get the latest information in the area of where we are teaching. So we are quite there on the pulse of the times. We do have quite nice, well-equipped laboratories, and I'm going to show you some pictures of those and the instruments we are using. By being relatively small, we are in the very, very fortunate situation that we can give our students like a personal guidance. In some bigger departments, this is not possible. But we are actually very proud of ourselves on that account, so that we really know our students by name. I mean, it might be a good or bad thing for a student. It depends on how you behave. But anyway, I think I consider that as an advantage. And of course, you have seen the campus, and the campus is just wonderful, and it will stay being so. So then into what do we do actually? So I guess the common theme in our department is that we are interested in the molecular basis of the world. So how molecules work. Chemistry is looking into smaller molecules and maybe more into the physical world. And then biomolecular side is more interested in like living molecules, DNA, proteins, and how these molecules work in the cell. So it's quite a broad area, and there's lots of things to learn in there. Lately, there has been quite a big revolution in molecular sciences, because if you think 10 years ago, we were learning how to isolate the genes, how to study genes. And now we have, for example, the whole human genome sequenced. We know what the genes are. And the next challenge is then to work out how they actually really work, how they function, and what can we do in the future. So I find this quite exciting. Then briefly about our study programs. So with us you can do a major in chemistry, and I've provided here a little description what chemistry would be: science converting one substance into another, and molecular interpretation of the world around us. Now, people are not quite sure what biomolecular would mean. And just in short, it would be the study on how molecules work in living organisms. And I guess these are very good interpretations or explanations for those concepts. And then you put together chemistry and biomolecular. What do you get? You get biochemistry. And this is chemistry of life. And we actually just work at the interface of chemistry and biological phenomena. And yet again, that is a very modern area to work. It's been there, let's say, for the last 10 years only. So yet again, we are doing something very, very modern. And that leads me to the fact that you can actually do a double major with us. So you can study both chemistry and biomolecular topics, and then combine them in a unique way. And just getting feedback from our graduates, this has been a very, very good asset for people who are seeking for employment. So this combination is quite sought after. Then I will talk about our study programs a little bit more in detail so that you get to feel what you would be learning with us. So as said, you can major in chemistry, you can major in biomolecular sciences. On top of that, we do have quite a few students from other departments such as biological sciences taking our units. And vice versa, our students go and have units from offered by other departments, such as biological science, computing, and physics, geoscience. So that's up to the students. So what type of combination they are interested in. Okay, so when we move on to then 200 level, which is the second year, we kind of start building your skills base, if you like. So just briefly, the first year is pretty general. So if you do the first year, still there are many options open for you if you want to go to some other direction. So that's quite right. But then when we're moving on to the second year, so we will get more serious, if you like. So in the chemistry stream, you will be studying organic synthesis, physical chemistry, chemical analysis, and then we do have our planet unit, which is called Alchemy, Drugs, and Quest of Immortality. And what could be more intriguing than that? We can't provide you any firm answers, but we can, talk about these things. You may have heard about people, planet, and participation units. No? So the university requires each graduate to have one of these, all these three units. And this alchemy and so forth is our planet unit. And the idea here is to educate the students on scientific literacy. The people unit is more like society, and then so-called PACE unit is participation. So that's an extra dimension to your studies. Then on the biomolecular side, you will be studying microbiology, biochemistry, and molecular biology. So this is like the units related to the living stuff, if you like. Then on a third year, there's more chemistry. And now there's a new chemistry unit there, I can't point there, but it's medicinal chemistry, which looks into these medicinal aspects of chemistry. And then that could be one specialization you choose in your studies. Then on the biomolecular side, we do have proteins, we do have cell biology, more biochemistry. Now we also come into serious molecular biology and genomics, I mentioned earlier. And then we do have biotechnology unit, and also look into proteomics, which means how proteins work. Now you might note that we do have these words that have an omics part on it. So is anyone familiar with the concepts proteomics, genomics? What does it mean? What does it mean? No. Okay, it means that we are not looking into one protein or one gene at a time. We grab a whole set of proteins and genes and look into how they work together. So that's, again, quite a new concept which has been around, let's say, for the last 10 years or so. Then the crown of your units will be a capstone unit, which is a bit different to the other units in that it's kind of growing and being able to carry out the project work. So the students will do a research project, both in chemistry capstone and a biomolecular capstone. And then there are also some practical aspects, like how to write a good CV, how to perform in interviews and so forth, which really is important when you go out to the university and try and find a job. And I just have to mention one feature of our biomolecular capstone unit, which is so-called Igem Competition. It is an international competition of synthetic biology. We do have a team which is put together in the class, and in this team, select team, travels overseas to compete on an international forum on synthetic biology. And this year's team is actually, now I forget the room number, but it is here. They have a display at the premises. So if you are interested in talking to these students and having a look at what they do, so please go there. Then, of course, we do have scholarships and prizes. They are of different sizes, from a couple of hundreds to 2,000 per year. And if you go onto our website, I do have an address at the end of this presentation. You can see this year's winners and what they have done. Again, university-wide, we don't do an honors year anymore, but all our students do, if they're interested in further studies, they do a Masters of Research degree, MRes. It's a 2-year degree, and again, we do provide a scholarship for those 2 years. So that is something to consider further down the line. Then, importantly, job opportunities. So I have a list here, so this is just some examples, but if you look into some of these in more detail, there is biotechnology and pharmaceutical industry. So this is like a manufacturing industry. You can be the manufacturing side, you can be, a boss, quality control side, and you can be on the research side. So that's quite a good variety of options there. Food and feed industry, the same. I should tell you, so one of my previous students found his dream job. He was the laboratory manager at Carlton Breweries. We're making beer, and he was so happy. So, and he still is. So what I'm saying, that there are quite, good or exciting job opportunities in this area as well. Industrial waste management, yes, it's either biological or chemical. And I mentioned quality control, again, could be chemical or microbial. Then we do have graduates in hospital and medical labs. For example, doing analyses, biochemical analyses, that we have quite a few people who have taken that route. Analytical chemistry labs, same principle there, doing analyses. Research institutes, CSIRO. If you are interested in research, there's options in these institutes, and of course universities. So quite a broad selection of opportunities. However, if you don't like let's say laboratory job, if you want a desk job, that's also possible. So these jobs, let's say at environmental and government agencies, this is a growing employment area for our graduates. And it really is concerning legislation and monitoring various activities that are happening. Patent law, again, a bit unusual option maybe. I do have a friend who did a science degree and then decided that this is not for her, I want to do something else, and then did patent law courses, and she's now quite high up and working in a patent firm. A different option there. Education, you can become a teacher. We do have examples of people who have taken or studied further for the graduate in teaching education and have become teachers. If you like writing, science and journalism, why not? And then, of course, there's technical sales and service jobs. And quite a few people have gone down this route as well. So there are job options, and there is more. This is just to show you examples of the type of research we do, should you be interested in research. So again, we do have a very broad brush. We have projects ranging from analytical chemistry, medicinal chemistry, drug discovery, biochemistry, this omics, proteomics, and genomics, to biotechnology, which really is application of science. So you can do like the more basic type of things, or you can opt using a more practical, such as biotechnology. Okay, I promised to show you some of our instrumentation. Here is one. It is a mass spectrometer, which is a gadget. I can't say gadget because it's a very, very, very complex instrument to study proteins. So if you like big instruments, and if you're interested in learning how to use them, so we really do have some instruments for you. This is another type of mass spectrometer, which is specializing in the analysis of sugars. Then we have quite a lot of different chromatographic instruments that are there for the analysis of small molecules. So again, we work with small molecules, mid-sized molecules, and large molecules. And then we do have this type of instruments. Does anyone know what these are? I know one person in this room knows. But these are actually cultivation vessels to grow microorganisms to make different products for us, like pharmaceutical products, enzymes to be added in the washing powders, and such type of organisms. So we can harness the microbes for common good. Yes, then some examples of our research areas. On the chemistry side, we do atmospheric and environmental chemistry, so look into emissions from different sources, cars, industry, and I just have to put this one here, from, in this case, sheep's backside. So, but the message here is that animals do contribute to environmental emissions on a large scale. So that is a serious area of research. Then here we have DNA. I guess most of us do watch the crime shows on TV. Yes, we know what DNA is, what it does, and we also know that every person has their unique DNA fingerprint. So there are no two people who are same. And that's one way of identification of people. The round thing up there is a bacterial chromosome. And this shows you that we know all the genes in bacterial chromosome, and if we are working out what these genes do. And let's say if you find a gene that makes an enzyme that degrades a pollutant in the environment, we can take that gene and make the gene do quite a lot of the product, for example, for environmental use. And that is genetic engineering and biotechnology. So we can utilize the genes the way we like. And then I have a gene array on the chip which relates to these omics analyses. You can analyze a whole lot of activities in one go. We are a home for Australian proteome analysis facility, and this facility provides services for other universities and researchers, and also there's also like a proteome research going on there. And one example of this type of research I would like to tell about is the search for biomarkers for disease, or for example cancer. I take cancer as an example. How do you do this? You have one set of proteins from the diseased cell. This is now the omics application. One set of proteins from the healthy cell. And then you compare the proteins. If you see one protein or a couple of proteins that are really strongly expressed in the diseased cell, they provide you with a good potential biomarker. So when the analysis is done in laboratories, they do this and they see this protein is up. It could indicate the presence of the disease. So that's the principle of this type of research. And you see those bright spots in there. So they are proteins, and you can see the big blob. That could be a good candidate for a disease marker. So it's quite an exciting area of work as well. Then I think I'll just finish off by introducing to you some our previous students and their stories, because every student, they have their own story. Again, like DNA fingerprints, no two students are the same. They have their own interests and pursuits. And this is Tom Joss. Tom studied our subjects, molecular biology. He also studied subjects from biological sciences, and this is now an example where you can go across the different disciplines. He did some research assistant work with us. He was interested in plants, so he did that. He also did some work with microorganisms in the case of Sydney water contamination supply. I think it's 1994, so that's happened then. And then I bumped into Tom, I think it was three weeks ago, and he said, guess what? I'm studying medicine now. So he was in the final years of his medical studies. So this was Tom's story, Tom's journey, if you like. Then we do have Leah. Leah was interested in medicinal chemistry, so that was her main subject. And she also studied microbiology and pharmacology. Again, this kind of free mix of topics. And she was employed by pharmaceutical industry. That's Leah. And then I don't know if people have the general idea that scientists are geeks. Do you think so? No? Surely not. And just to prove this to you, I show you Chris, who is he's a very skillful rugby player, and he's also an analytical chemist working in an analytical laboratory. So different people, different students, different stories. And I guess the take-home message is that this area is quite flexible. You can mix and match, and that also broadens your opportunities as for the employment. Yes, so if you have further questions, please contact us or come and talk to me after this. Here is our website. If you're interested in getting more information, go there. And again, we are really, really happy to talk to you, so come and talk to us.